Welcome back to the Replay Studio, everyone, and we are here with another episode of Dark, episode 5. Before we begin, I do want to give a special thanks to Mike Miller, who's been very active down in the comments, giving me tips on how to um, accurately pronounce the characters' names because I'm sure I've been butchering them very much. So instead of saying Mikkel, it's actually Mikkel, and so on and so forth. You also provided the Netflix webpage that gives you a character map for each family that we've been introduced to. No, I will not be using the character map from the webpage. I'll be doing my own as we go along. As I've as you do similar to when you're making notes and putting pen to paper helps with your memorization skills. So I'm going to be doing something similar here because the creating my own character map allows me to actually recall the characters and their connections and associations a bit more clearly. So I'll be updating mine at the end of each reaction as we go along. So yeah, I realized and I had to ditch the whiteboard in favor of the application that I've been using because I know this is gonna get a bit convoluted as the episodes go along. We're still being introduced to new characters. It's gonna get pretty large and pretty confusing. So this helps me a lot. Helps me quite a bit to actually remember all these characters and how they're connected. So on the last episode, we were introduced to Ellie, which is oddly seemed to have been a focus of that episode, though she has not been. I don't believe we had actually seen her for the first 4 episodes. First 3 episodes, sorry. So I found that very peculiar that she only came around after Mikkel had actually vanished, right? And I'm gonna I've put her to the side on my list as one of the characters to make note of. Charlotte, of course, has discovered that her husband is being unfaithful, but he not just to their marriage, but he's keeping a secret as far as his sexuality and stuff like that. And she's aware of it. Over a year, and it seems as though he made a promise to her and the family, I suppose, to not do that. And they're sleeping in separate rooms. They're just being a family for the sake of the children, I want to say. At least that's how it came across. But Charlotte is definitely onto something. She now knows that her husband was traveling in and out of town to this cabin in the woods that she discovered, and it has the same red soil that the kid that they found actually had on his clothing and stuff. So he's definitely connected somehow. His name is Peter. I don't think we've gotten his name prior to that, but they told us his name last episode. So this is the Doppler family, and so we now have all the names for all the families that we've met, so that we've been introduced to so far: the Cornwalls, the Obendorfs, the Dopplers, the Nielsen's, and the Tiedemans. Now I've made the connections there. I'll be putting it up so you should be able to see as well. All the connections that we've made to each of the families that we've been able to connect so far, whether it's through an individual or through some sort of association. The only family that's kind of still an outlier is the Obendorfs, and I'm not quite sure how they fit in just yet. I believe as the episodes go along, we'll probably find a connection for them also. I think that lies with Eric. I mean, we know Mr. Obendorf works for Alexander, so there is a connection there. But I feel as though there is something more. There's something else that we're not aware of. I don't see why Mr. Obendorf would volunteer his own son, and for his own to sacrifice his own son, as a matter of fact. So there's still that mystery. And I mean, they haven't found Eric as yet, although we've seen the stranger dragging his body through a few episodes back. But I imagine we will maybe this or the next episode. And Jonas as well is so we have two investigators now. Jonas is on the case and Charles is on the case as well. Jonas, of course, following the map left by his dad, Michael, a map of the caves, but I don't think he's been able to discern what exactly that means, or what is happening. Hopefully, at some point, perhaps he and Charlotte will cross path. If the clues that they come upon actually um, share some similarities. Of course, we also had a moment with Magnus and Franziska, and we'll see where that relationship goes. I think he has suspected her of being involved in his brother's disappearance, but I guess that theory is out the window now. He likes her, I suppose, and they're I have no idea what they are, but we'll see how far that relationship actually goes. So the focus is now on the Doppler family. With the majority of the last episode, that's what we've been focusing on. Yeah, so I mean, like, we'll see, guys. We'll see. The board is almost complete as far as understanding who all the players are. The only mystery remains is their motivations. For the most part, we understand what motivations, what's driving the majority of the characters, but the overarching theme or whatever, whoever is pulling the strings from the background, we've still not figured that out yet, or why. We sort of have the why, but in terms of this cycle that has been mentioned at the very beginning of the last episode, it appears to be a 33-year cycle, and that Charlotte has picked up on that as well, recognizing the same symptoms in the birds that were affected in 2019 versus those that she had picked up in 1986 as well. But we are still missing how anyone is actually benefiting from any of this. So that still remains a mystery. Hopefully we'll get some answers this episode. So let's check it out. So what changed this cycle? Because in the last cycle, only one child went missing, but this is, yeah.
Das Gleiche ist mit Yasin passiert.
Yeah. Who is this Noah?
Wie sah der aus? Kannst du ihn beschreiben?
Peter knows. Peter looks suspicious as hell. What do you mean? There's a boy missing. She's just trying to get details.
Ich weiß, dass du nicht in der Praxis warst. Wenn du irgendetwas mit dem Verschwinden von Mikkel zu tun hast, oder Erik, oder Yasin, dann sag's mir.
She wishes he was just cheating.
Du spinnst.
Peter. That's Eric's phone, right? Or think. Noah again. Who is this Noah?
Ich dachte, ihr habt jetzt bestimmt keinen Kopf zu kochen. Mit all dem. Und ich dachte,
How nice of you. I wonder, does she know about the affair though? I mean, I think she knows there is a affair going on, but does she know that it's with Hannah?
Hannah hat uns was zu essen.
He does not want you there right now. It's so
Ich muss auf
inappropriate.
die Wache.
Kannst du mich vielleicht mitnehmen? Ich bin mit dem Fahrrad da. Es regnet so. Wenn's
Natürlich
nicht
kann
auf-
Ulrich dich mitnehmen.
She definitely suspects something is happening. Maybe she's just not reserved herself to believe it.
Könnten Sie das für mich zustellen? Ist das wichtig?
Ja, natürlich.
Don't let curiosity get the better of you. Ah, to Jonas.
Was von Martha gehört? Die ruft mich nicht zurück und ich weiß nicht, was sie jetzt braucht und das Ganze ist irgendwie abgefuckt. Sie wird sich schon melden, wenn sie soweit ist.
Who is this Noah?
Ich bin Noah.
Ah,
Bin Pfarrer der St. Christophorus-Gemeinde.
okay.
Ines hat mich angerufen. Was glaubst du dann, wie die Welt entstanden ist? Wer all die schönen Dinge erschaffen hat?
Is it customary to have a priest visit a missing kid?
Und vor dem Urknall, was war da? Nichts kann aus nichts entstehen.
Maybe, maybe not.
Vater sagt, Religion ist Volksverdummung.
Sein Vater weiß sicherlich viel, aber von Zeit zu Zeit sollte man auch mal die Fragesteller in Frage stellen.
Including yourself, Noah. Who'd have thought Noah's a man of faith?
Nicht das für dich, ja? Irgendeine beschissene Affäre.
What do you think? He's married.
Das kann
And
man
so are
sich
you.
vorstellen.
Ruf mich nicht an, komm nicht vorbei. Lass uns einfach in Ruhe. Okay?
And that might not have happened if you weren't forcing it so much.
Hau ab!
Dann sagt sie, wenn du erwachsen
Yeah,
bist,
definitely barring on obsession.
Bam! Mitten in die Fresse, verstehst du?
Hallo? Hörst du mir überhaupt noch zu?
Wir quatschen später weiter, okay?
They've been together for that long. How long do you hold on to that infatuation? It's been years.
Lieber mit dir als mit irgendwem anderen. Aber du besorgst Gummis. Ich will kein AIDS und ich will keine Kinder.
Smart girl.
Also ich bin mir sicher, seine Familie wird sich über kurz oder lang melden. Oder die Schule. Wir finden heraus, zu wem er gehört. Also dann,
What if I want to take him?
Als damals mein Bruder verschwunden ist, haben die hier so ziemlich jeden Fehler gemacht, den man sich vorstellen kann. Der leitende Ermittler war ein versoffener Vollidiot.
It's old Mr. Tiedemann.
Und jetzt schau mich an. Ich bin Witz.
Betrügt meine Frau. Mein Sohn ist verschwunden, ich kann
I'm
nichts.
surprised he told her that bit. I mean, does everyone know? Or he just feels confident enough to confide in her?
Hast du schon mal was von dem 33-Jahre-Zyklus gehört? Unsere Kalender stimmen nicht. Das Jahr ist eigentlich nicht 365 Tage lang. Wir sind sozusagen immer ein bisschen aus der Taktung. Der lunar-solare Zyklus. Mein Großvater war besessen von solchen Dingen. Big Bang und Big Crunch. Nietzsches ewige Wiederkunft desgleichen. Dasselbe Gefühl habe ich jetzt wieder. Dass sich alles wiederholt. Dass es das alles schon gegeben hat. Wie ein gigantisches...
Du siehst ihm ähnlich. Dein Vater.
Who are you and how do you know my father?
Er hat mir damals das Leben gerettet. Aber das habe ich erst sehr viel später verstanden. Das Leben ist ein Labyrinth.
Before the time jump or after?
Der Tod ist etwas Unbegreifliches. Aber man kann sich mit ihm versöhnen.
Alright, so clearly this guy is working in opposition of Noah, right?
Weißt du, was ich mir manchmal vorstelle? Dass ich zaubern kann. Also ich stelle mir vor, dass ich etwas will. Ganz doll. Und das passiert dann, weil ich es mir vorstelle.
Zauberei. Nur Illusion. Die Dinge verändern sich nur, wenn wir sie verändern. Aber man muss es geschickt tun, im Verborgenen. Dann wirkt es wie Zauberei.
But oddly, I mean, he told her his name is Mikkel here, but she knows him to be Michael in 2019. Which means she knows what his name originally was. And she would have known Katarina's son had the same name. So you're on your own, Bartosz. I mean, why wasn't Bartosz here though? I mean, if he knows she's supposed to be performing rather than going to meet some drug dealer that he doesn't even know.
Ich war in der Klapse. Die nennen das posttraumatische Störung.
He was in a psychiatric ward, but why? I mean, did he have a mental breakdown or something after his father died? I don't know how Noah is able to be in 1986 and still be here unless it's a much older Noah.
Ich bin Bartosz. Ich weiß. Ich bin Noah.
I mean, it hasn't aged. And he told Ellie that, to tell Charlotte that, they met someone from her past. So they must have met at some point in 1986. Just when you think you're out. Just tell us the truth and that it's over.
etwas gesehen hat, was man nicht hätte sehen sollen.
Wie meinst du das?
Ulrich hat ihre Brüste angefasst und hat sich auf sie draufgelegt.
Oh,
Und sie wollte es nicht.
she lied. Interesting.
Sie hat Stopp gerufen und gezappelt.
That's just twisted,
Aber er lag
kid.
mit drauf.
And just what he wants to hear. But I mean, they can ask her and she'll just deny it because that's not what happened. And since he's with her, I'm guessing he didn't know. Since he's cheating on his wife with her, I'm guessing he doesn't know that she's the one that did it. He might even blame Mr. Tiedemann, who, as incompetent as he is just doing his job here. Package has arrived. What's in it? And he said it needed to arrive this evening. So what's happening this evening? To go through the cave. I'm guessing. And this is to check radiation levels, right? I forgot the name of the device, but
Versuchen zu vergessen, bis es nicht mehr geht. Wir kennen nicht einmal die Hälfte der Mysterien dieser Welt. Am 4. November 2019 bin ich durch die Zeit ins Jahr 1986.
So it's from Mikko, or from his dad.
Mikkel wurde Michael, der niemals
Yeah,
wusste,
knew it.
wohin er gehört. Wenn du dies liest, bin ich bereits gegangen. Alles ist miteinander verbunden. Michael.
It's a lot to process. The old man who was working on the device.
Ich möchte mich gerne mit Ihnen über die Zeit unterhalten.
All right, there we have it, episode 5 of Dark, and yeah, just as the moment you think you've got things figured out, it drops a ton of information for you to make sense of. All right, first off, we finally met what's his name, Noah. We finally met Noah, who says he's met, according to Ellie, says he's met Charlotte before. We've met him in 1986, and we see where he introduced himself to Mikkel, but not to Charlotte. I'm not sure how he would have. Well, perhaps at some point they'll cross paths, but either way, he hasn't aged at all. Appears to be dressed as a preacher, and a non-believer in the theory of evolution. Wherever your stance is on the evolution of man, or creation in itself, he seems to be a devout Christian, but at the same time, I mean, he's in both timelines, which suggests that he also believes that that he also believes science, and that is actually a possibility to begin with. And that's not that all that unusual. Oddly enough, many of those that we credit with the theories that we look towards today were actually men of faith themselves. Oftentimes, especially now, people believe that there is some exclusivity, but it can be both. You can actually be both. So it's interesting. And I guess Noah is that big baddie in the shadows controlling everything. Not quite sure what his I don't think that's his motivation, whatever it is, whatever it may be. I don't think it's some grand scheme to prove that the Big Bang is nothing but a theory. I don't think. I think it has to be something far more profound than just that. So I'm not sure what his motivations are just yet. You know, what exactly was his meeting with Magnus? Because I don't think he was selling him drugs. What was Eric dealing exactly? Yeah, that is interesting. That is interesting, and the idea behind the lunar solar cycle, that Charlotte brought up as well, and I'm glad to see that they're incorporating that in it. I'll definitely need to do my homework. I'll definitely need to do my homework on that. I'm not up to par. And I mean, I know in the West here we use obviously we use a solar cycle, which is why we have February with a a leap day, but I'll definitely need to do some more investigation as to what who exactly uses the lunar calendar versus the solar calendar and what the significance of that is. But I'm intrigued. There's something for me to think about. We had some other revelations as well. Hannah, that's first and foremost. That is, I don't know. That's messed up. I don't know how else to describe that. That is messed up. And I mean, after all these years, and it strikes me as odd because she seems to have made a connection with Mikkel there when they met. Their shared love of magic, I suppose. So they eventually end up together. But what happened? I mean, I guess Ulrich is her long lost love. So the moment Michael died, she decided, okay, now is my time. Or were they sleeping together before Michael actually died? I'm not sure, but that was a terrible thing to do, to accuse someone of that. And Mr. Tiedemann, I said it in reaction that okay, he's just doing his job, following up on the information he was given. But something tells me he's not going to do due diligence to to check the details to ensure the stories that Hannah gave him and the story that Katerina gave him align. Because he's so eager to lock Ulrich up, and I mean, perhaps at some point they'll reveal to us why he despises Ulrich so much, because there must be a reason for it, right? You don't just wake up and decide to hate someone and want to see them behind bars, and there must be a reason. There must be a reason. I can only think that maybe it has something to do with Regina. We saw where a few episodes back we saw Regina, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I'll try. We saw where she had scars on her. I believe she was the one that had scars on her arm, suggesting attempted suicide. So my guess at this point, given that she's Mr. Tiedemann's granddaughter, perhaps Ulrich was with her at some point and he broke her heart, and maybe she tried to kill herself as a result of that, and he's so pissed because of that he wants to see Ulrich pay in some way, right? So he'll just jump at any story that he gets. But Hannah, though, that's yeah. Parents, and I mean, I can't even say I want to say raise your kids to understand the power of words, but her dad seems to be a nice guy, genuinely nice guy. So she's twisted. And I mean, in our conversation with Ulrich when he ended things, I don't think he should have lied to his wife. I've said from the beginning that he's just not one of my favorite characters because he's an asshole because of everything that he's done. Now that he's taken an interest in the case, great. He's now admitting that he's an asshole, great. But nonetheless, Hannah saying to him that do you think I'll just let you go? That's she needs help. She needs help. I mean that's been fostering for years since she was a child, and she still hasn't gotten past it. That's some different. That's a different form of obsession. That's a different form of obsession, man. Yeah. Jonas he now knows the truth, right? The stranger, whoever that stranger is, and I said before that I felt as though there was more than just one entity at work before, and I feel that's the case now more than ever. I do think there's one entity who's using the centrifuge to travel back, and there's another who's using the device in the briefcase or trying to perfect it to change. So there are two entities going at odds, right? And our characters are in the middle of that, and yeah, I guess we'll see what the outcome is. But the stranger, I mean, he's giving Jonas information. I'm assuming to break this cycle, to somehow break the cycle. But he told him all the information that he needed to know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure if the stranger could be. I mean, he can't be Michael because he looks close enough to age that he would need to resemble him. So I don't think he is him. I want to say maybe he is Jonas, but I'm still iffy on that one as well. But nonetheless, he left him all the clues. Jonas now knows, Mikkel is his dad. What to do with it? I'm not sure what he expects him to do. He's already said everything that has happened. There's no changing it. So what is the purpose of this? He left him with a device, which I'm blanking on the name, but I know it's used to check the radiation levels. And I'm assuming that the other device, which is some sort of flashlight, is for him to explore the cave further. Without the battery dying, because radiation levels, if it gets high enough, it will just kill the batteries. So it appears as though he wants him to explore the cave. I mean, he already has the map. He's already found the map that his dad left behind, so he just needs a way to navigate the caves. And I mean, those are the very same caves that we've seen the stranger enter and leave numerous times, and he seems to be able to do it effortlessly. So so I think there are two entities. I think the stranger is one with a different objective, and I think Noah is another with a different objective, and they're both, Noah wants, I believe, perhaps to keep the cycle going, and the stranger, I'm guessing, just wants to break that cycle, for whatever reason. I'm not sure what either of their motivations are just yet, but I suppose that will be revealed, as time goes along, and we'll see. The relationships with the kids, I want to say, are my least favorite part of this series so far. Not because it's bad, it's just not as compelling as everything else that is happening. So, for example, with Jonas and Martha and Bartosz, it was kind of, it was neither here nor there for me, right? It was kind of just happening, and I'm like, okay, this is happening. I imagine, to give the series and the writers credit, I don't think anything is happening without a purpose. So it may play into something else later on and tie into some other event, or some actions that the characters may take, Bartosz in particular. So I believe there's a purpose for it. It's just nothing compelling for me in that the love triangle there, right? But I imagine that there's going to be consequences of that happening. I mean, if she clearly prefers to be with Jonas. We haven't seen their relationship per se to know to know what the weight of that friendship is or the relationship was prior to him going to the facility, to the psychiatric ward. I mean, when they got back, we saw them having a bit of witty banter, talking about deja vu and glitch in the matrix and stuff. So they seem close. But if that is the case, why did she get together with his best friend? The characters here make a lot of questionable decisions. So I'm not sure why she would go with his best friend and then make a U-turn and then decide to kiss him when the best friend is out of the picture, not even out of the picture because she hasn't told him anything. Just end things first and then do that. But no, not happening. Yeah, so the relationships are not my favorite thing, but I imagine they will tie into to certain plot points later on. So I'm keeping an eye out for them. So I'm definitely intrigued, guys. I'm gonna go do some more reading on the lunar solar cycle and see how that can help me to piece this puzzle together. It's definitely something I'm enjoying putting together so far and coming up with theories. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's fantastic. Be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.